Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this series of videos I take 10 rocks, common rocks that anybody can find and viewers have been sending me to, and I cut them in half and we see what's inside. Then I'll take each one of them rocks and I'll make a cabochon out of, and I have the cabochons from episode 53 that Gloria sent me later in the video if you want to stick around for that. So got 10 rocks here. Actually I got 12 rocks here. I got a couple extras I'm going to cut. And Kurt from New Mexico sent them, and I really appreciate it, and we're going to see what we got here. So I got 10 rocks here from a viewer named Kurt down in New Mexico, was kind enough to send me up. We're going to take a look at them here, and then we'll take them down to the saw and cut them in half. So let's see what we got here. So I think a lot of these are quartzites and cherts and jaspers maybe. Get this one wet. Kind of interesting pattern going on in there. And this one here. That one looks like a chert or a jasper. It looks really hard. Some interesting stuff going on in there. This one here. I don't know what quite to make of that one yet. Hopefully it's got some cool looking patterns lurking on the inside. Here's what the outside looks like. And this one here looks like a chunk of coral to me. I can't think of the name right now. I think I did a piece of this with the South Dakota rocks. There's that. This one looks like a chunk of quartzite. Kind of similar to the very first one, just a little different color and a little different pattern. Another chunk of jasper, maybe. Really red. Yeah, a nice deep red there. Okay, and we got this one here. I don't know what to make of this one. Be kind of curious to see what's inside here. Another chunk of chert or jasper. Got this nice little line running through there. Same thing, different color, different pattern. I'm definitely curious on this one. And then this one here. It's like another, I don't know. I was going to think quartzite, but I'm not really sure. We're going to find out though. Then a couple extra ones here. He sent this one along, but I was looking at it. To me, it looks like a TP Canyon agate almost. Got some fortification and some quartz pocket right there. We're going to cut it, see what it looks like on the inside. And then this one here had this pattern here. This almost looks like wonderstone. The only reason why I did not pick it is I'm afraid this pattern's just right there. You know, it don't go into the stone, but I'm going to cut it anyways and see what it looks like. So these two here I will not make cabochons, but we're going to cut them and look at them on the inside. These here I will make cabochons. So let's take these rocks that Kurt sent me down on the saw. Let's cut them open and see what's inside. So I'll see you downstairs. All right, we're down here on my high-tech 10-inch lapidary saw. I have no affiliation with them. This is just a saw I use. So this is a 10-inch continuous rim sintered diamond blade. It cuts by grinding, not with a sharp point. And I'm rubbing my thumb on it right now. And it's not sharp, so it don't even cut the glove. So you don't have to worry about me cutting my fingers. And then before we get started here, I'm going to touch it up a little bit. I run a coarse grinding disc a couple times across the face of it to expose more diamonds. So let's get started. All right, first up, this one here. And I see a lot of fractures in there. I think I'm going to cut this face off right here. Okay, first rock, episode 54. Let's see what we got. Oh, making the pattern there. That'll be enough to make a nice cab out of that. Now we're going to talk about these a little bit more upstairs, so we're just cutting now. Alright, next up, get this one here. I'm going to split it right down the middle. Alright, I'm imagining the inside's going to look like the outside, but sometimes we get surprised here. Let's see what we got. Ooh, did not look like the outside. Wow. Okay. This one here. A lot of frag. I'm going to split it right down the middle too. Okay, there's the outside. Let's see what the inside looks like. Ooh, there's another one. A lot of fractures though. I'm hoping those are healed fractures, but man, I like the contrast or the different color. I thought it'd be orange for sure. Okay. This one here. Thinking I'm going to split that one down the middle too. Okay, is this one going to be a different color on the inside? Let's find out. Yeah, it is. Okay, interesting. Alright, this bright red one here. And I'm trying to think. I'm going to cut this face off here. You know, I got bright red, but I also got another bright red one here. I want some of this purplish looking rock here. Okay, ready for the reveal? Here we go. Okay, interesting. Nice smooth cut. All right. Alright, we're really curious about this one here. We're going to split it right down the middle. Alright, I'm not going to lie, it cut pretty easy. Let's see what we got. Alright. Kind of cool. I got this pinkish looking rock here. Take it down this side here. And that one cut pretty easy. Let's see what we got. Okay. I think it might be thick enough here for a cab. I might come back and take another slice off this. It kind of looks kind of interesting. Alright, got this coral looking one here. I'm thinking I'm going to cut it right just like that. Alright, so we got some pattern and or color in here. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. water lines going on here. I don't know if you can see them on the camera. I'm going to cut this side off here. This is bright on the inside, the outside. Wow. That's bright. Okay. You got this weird looking thing here. I think I'm just going to cut this fat side off. All right. Nothing special going on in there. A little pattern there. All right. So I got the two extras here. I'm going to cut this one just like this. Well, I'm glad I didn't select this one for the top 10 here. Kind of, I don't know, something trying to go on in there, but then it all busted up anyways. Okay. Get this one here. I think I'm going to cut it just right down the middle here. Okay, let's see. Kind of interesting. Little fortifications right there. All right, I'm going to take these upstairs, look a little closer at them, so I'll see you up there. All right, just cut the rocks in half that Kurt sent. Well, not in half, some of them cut the ends off. Got some pretty cool looking stuff here. So let's take a look at them in no particular order here. I'll run this through the bath. So this one here had all this lumpy stuff going on the outside here. And, you know, sometimes you're going, this might be really cool on the inside. Well, not quite. I mean, it'll make a pretty shiny cab. There's a little stuff going on where the dark is. I might cut another slice off the end here and see if I can find anything else cool, but it's okay. So we got this little red guy here, one of them. I had this nice, cool little stripe running through here, and you think, well, I should say, it shouldn't say red, but it wasn't red. It was kind of gray on the inside. And I'm hoping that these are healed fractures, because if they're really fractures, I'm not going to be able to make a cab out of this one. But I like that, the line running through there. I can't feel anything with my thumb, so hopefully it's solid. There's the outside. All right, this one here. I'm not going to say I have high hopes for it, but it was really interesting. Look at the outside with the white lumps and stuff. And then the inside, we got this mottled white in a little field of tan there. But the only problem, I think it looks like it's really porous. So this one might be an interesting cab. I think that unique. Okay, we had a chunk of coral here. At least that's what I'm calling it. And that's what it looked like from the outside. And that's what it looks like on the inside. Actually, it looks kind of bluish here on this end here. And I might go another slice on this one, because I didn't think I cut this one thick enough for a cab. But we'll see. I haven't made up my mind yet. But I think that'll shine up nicely. And there's the rest of it there. Now I'm saying coral because that's what it kind of looks like to me. It could be something else. If you know exactly what it is, leave a comment down below. All right, hit this piece of, I'm going to call it quartzite. Kind of a pinkish color to it. And there. Cool pattern. Almost, you know, I'm going to say it almost looks like feldspar, the pink stuff. Or should maybe orange, I don't know. I wanted to cut it like this because I was thinking about cutting it like this, but I wanted, if the stripe went through, I wanted it in the cab. So we might go back and take another slice out of this, maybe even cut it this way and see what it looks like. But feels nice and solid. I think it'll make an awesome looking cab. Another piece of quartzite here. So here you pick this rock up out in the outdoors there, and you go, oh yeah, yellow and black, and then you cut it open, and it's actually quartz and black. And I like the shading and stuff here. I'm just hoping it's not, it's solid. Man, that's some pattern right there, and I like the color too, especially with the black going in and out of there. So I think we got something here. Another red one. And kind of what it looked like on the outside. You can see we can line it up here. Yeah, right there. No, I don't know. All right. So it had a bright red here, but then it had a kind of a purplish color here. So I went ahead and cut it. And yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Got a nice line. Now I'm hoping it stays together. A lot of times you get these quartz veins running through here like that, and they like to break on these veins. So we'll find out when we start cabining. I think that's really pretty. And then, you know, I got more rock here. If I want to slab it off, I can probably get 2 slabs for sure out of that. And this big one here. Had a lot of conchoidal fractures like an arrowhead. You can see where pieces were flying off of this thing over the years or whatever. Here's another one with a cool pattern on the inside. You can almost see some mossy stuff right there. And it was nice and hard. I could tell when I was cutting it, so it's going to make a really shiny cab. It's just, you know, do we get enough of the pattern in here? And this is another one. I might go back downstairs. I might take another slab off this side here to see if I can get some more color and pattern out of it. Yeah, not too shabby. All right, put your sunglasses on, because this one here is bright red. Look at that. That is red. And there, got some, looks like sedimentary going on in there. But man, is that red. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to incorporate any of these quartz stingies in here. I might go for another cut on this one too, but I think I cut this thick enough to make a cab out of, so I don't know. I'll have to think about this one. But man, that's red. Orange is red, I guess. Wow. And this one here, it's another one. You look at it, you know, you probably kick it out of the trail or whatever. I ain't picking that up. But when you cut them in half, they take on a totally different look. So that's got chunks of something in there. Smoky quartz, maybe, I don't know. A few fractures, but it might be healed. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything there. I think we're good. So there's another colorful rock from New Mexico. So I'm going to take all these here, and I'm going to make a cabochon out of each one of them. Oh, let's before we finish here, let's look at the other rocks I cut. I'm not going to make cabs out of these. I just wanted to see what's inside. This one looked like it had a nice fortification. Nothing on that side. So I cut it, and not really kind of going at things is just full of fracture. So I'm kind of glad I didn't include it in the 10, because I think I'd have a hard time finding a cab in here. But it is pretty. So maybe I'll go at it again and see if I can come up with a solid chunk on it. And then this one here had this this pattern here, but then it broke apart pretty readily. It's got some pattern in there. It must be that pattern and that sunburnt portion of it there. I mean, it's pretty. Maybe I can do something with this. I didn't see any fractures in there, but not in this series here, some other time. All right, we're going to gather these up, put them in a bag, move them out of the way, and then I got some really cool cabochons from episode 53 that Gloria sent. So we're going to take a look at those. You're going to be astonished. So thanks, Kurt, for sending the rocks. We're going to get these made into cabs, and you will see them in a different form next week. So let's move these rocks out of the way and get some cabochons in here. Okay, we cleared Kurt's rocks out of the way. Now we got Gloria's rocks that she sent up from Tennessee, and I have made cabochons out of them. So we're going to look at these now. So this is the first rock I cut, and this is the last rock I cut going that way. So we had this lumpy looking reddish, brownish rock here. I'll just kind of remind you what the inside looked like. A little mottled gray, pinkish type deal. Well, here's the cabochon. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful shine. Got the pinkish, just it looks exactly like the host rock. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. All right, this was agate number 1 that I cut. Here's the inside. This one was really pretty. This one had a lot of good looking fortifications going on in it right there. So here is the cabochon. Get kind of a swirly going in there. These, the colors aren't like super intense in these agates I've seen, but the designs are there. You can see that really good. So there is the cabochon, and there's the rock it came out of. All right, we had this little beauty here. It kind of had a few fractures I had to work around, but had kind of a gray mottled look to it. Looked like it had fortification right there. Well, here's the cabochon I made. Beautiful shine. A few little undercuts and maybe a couple little tiny pits, but nothing that'd take away from this. Got a little color in there. There's the original rock, and there's, oops, you hang on to the cabochons here. And there's the cabochon I made from it. There's another rock that you'd mostly walk right by. And this was probably the plainest one out of the whole batch, but it had a little dealy going up on top here. And I was able to incorporate that into the cabochon. So there's the cab. Beautiful shine. Little undercutting right there, but there's kind of a cool, that at least it wasn't just the brown, or else I probably would have rejected it, but that little bit right there I think adds greatly to it. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. It's another agate. And this one here had a lot more quartz in it than it had fortifications, and you can kind of see that there. In the center, it's all quartz here. So I tried to do the best I could here. And actually, I think it come out okay. I got some fortifications, good shine. Fortifications all over the place. You can tell it's an agate. There's see, it's all mostly quartz there, but on the outside I was able to get some good looking stuff. So there's the original rock, and there is the cabochon I made out of it. All right, it had this little lumpy rock here. Now this is another rock you'd probably look on the ground and say, hey, I ain't picking that up. Man, this one, it was beautiful on the inside. Look at that. So here is the cab I made. Beautiful shine. A little bit of undercutting. All these rocks had just a tiny bit of undercutting. Not too shabby. So there's original rock, and there's a cabochon. You would never think that cab would come out of that rock right there. That's just crazy. There's another plain rock here. When you flip it over, you got a little red, you got some pattern going on in there. Oh, here is the cabochon I made. Had some fractures in the rock, and you can kind of see them here, but I don't feel them, so I think they're healed fractures. So there's the original rock. There's the cabochon I made out of it. Another agate here. And this one, I did an end cut on it, trying to keep this the best I could, because it had a window in it. Here's the cab I made out of it. This one's really cool. Really cool, except one little piece popped out of the side right there, and I couldn't quite grind that away. But I think that's not going to take away from the way this cabochon come out. A lot of little tiny micro fractures and stuff in there, but yeah. There's the original rock, and there's cabochon. All right, another one. Brown rock. Nothing going on. And then you cut it open. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? You never know that from looking at the outside. Well, here's the cabochon I made. I think that's the right one. Yeah. No. This one. This is the cabochon that came out of that rock. Look at that. Nice shine. Pattern's awesome. Back. Front. Original rock. And the cabochon that came out of it. I think this one had a... I don't have a pit. Nope. Original rock and the cabochon. Okay, and we got this one here. See a little red right there. If that wasn't chipped off, you'd probably walk right by this one too. Look at that. Bright red, got some yellow, got some darker colors in there. Here's the cabochon. Little undercutting there. And then it had a soft spot. These lighter colored parts are soft spots, but there ain't nothing I could do about that. You can kind of see them there, but man, the color of this thing actually, hides that to the nth degree. I might take another cut out of this one here and make another cab. So there's the original rock, and there's the cabochon I made out of it. So I'm going to let Gloria pick out 3 of these cabs for herself, and then the rest of them will end up on Etsy. I don't think I'm going to dud any of these out. So thanks, Gloria, for sending the rocks in. It was kind of fun cutting these things. But, the agates always add a little bit to these rock cuts. Really appreciate it. So let's flip the camera around and finish this up. Well, I hope you enjoyed me cutting those rocks in half that Kurt sent from New Mexico. There's some nice looking stuff in there, and I think we're going to have some really cool looking cabs. And then the rocks that Gloria sent in for episode 53 that I made cabochons out of, a lot of them, you look at the outside of the rock and you would never think it would look like that on the inside, but that's what we do that here. We cut them in half so we can see what the inside looks like. So thanks to both of you. I really appreciate it. I hope the viewers all enjoyed this. And yeah, people sending me emails on my phone here. I should put it in the do not disturb. So all you viewers out there and subscribers, I really appreciate the subscriptions. I really do. But all you viewers that haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Absolutely free. Just click on the subscribe button, and then all of you slide over. Give me a thumbs up, because that gets the analytics out there so more people can find this content. And then you can hyperlink it on your mobile device. You can share it, and then you can push the bell button, and you'll get notifications when these videos come out. This video comes out every Wednesday, and then I have another video where I make a cabochon from the rough rock all the way to the shiny cab, and that comes out every Saturday. So when you watch this, you can jump over and watch that, and you can kind of go back and forth. Now I'm going to put a playlist for this video someplace up here, and then I'll put the episode 53 if you want to jump back and see me cutting glorious rocks in half. And then you can come back and see the cabochons made out of them. Those rocks will end up on Etsy someday. I'm working on it. Actually, I'm working on them. I'm getting way behind, so we'll get them on there. I really appreciate you coming along, watch me cut these rocks in half and show you the cabochons that I can make out of them. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.